everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully my chats are working tonight. Hopefully everybody is seeing this. We're live. Are we live? Hopefully it says we're live. We have 5 people with us tonight, including this guy straight off the streets. Are you ready, Sergeant? What do you got from the streets for us this week, Sergeant Soldier?
Well, I'll tell you what, let's start off. You saw me chewing on this cigar given me by Aaron McGowan. I'm doing some custom work for him. Tonight, I dropped off an Air Adventurer for sale up at the Nacogdoches Cigar Company. Next up is I want to advertise for a guy I met on Etsy. His name is Rob Noah with Ladderwell Navy, and he makes like computer corner, God dang it, computer corner rank insignia and stuff for like that for like the Navy personnel. And he's downsized them for a project that I'm working on for a sea adventurer. Next up, I want to give a shout out to Major Tom. He pointed out that Poplock's 4583 had done a short called Solo for Sergeant Soldier. I don't know if y'all seen it, but check it out. But he also turned me on to something called the G.I. Joe Band Live. And like the first 2, it's like a whole G.I. Joe band stop motion and 8mm camera. And I'm going to do a show later tonight, kind of with a breakdown with all the links for all this in the description, so that y'all can go look all this stuff up on your own. But yeah, the G.I. Joe Band Live, first 2 were Beatles tunes, Eleanor Rigby, and I think like Get Back or something like that. Let's see. I was asked where I've been getting beer bottles.
Yeah, man.
$10 for 60 bottles. I got it's Z Toy L official store on AliExpress, which I guess surely you guys kind of venture over to AliExpress sometimes. If you're real careful, you can get some real good deals. But it's Z Toy L official store, and I will put a link in the description in the next thing. Okay, next up is Pat asked me where I got Hank Venture's Easy Rider Captain America helmet. And it was, let me see, I guess if I can read this right. It's, I can't read it. Spring Team 2010.
I already found it. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll put a link up in the description. Something that came in really special this week for my friend Aaron McGowan. We've seen him molded from 21st Century, but off of Zhukov's for about $32. I got a leg bag, cloth. I got a parachute cloth packed. I'm scared to look in there and see if there's a parachute in there. And then, of course, the reserve bag, all cloth, high end. I guess, it's like Hot Toys level. Let me see. We got it. Adam, I got a correction for you.
Yeah.
You said something about me getting 100 subscribers in like a month. Well, it took 2 months, and I'm up to 133 now.
Nice.
And the last thing I've got is I'm working on have y'all ever heard of Jellyfin? It's like a make your own server for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I've got all 5 seasons of $6 Million Man. We're going to be adding Land of the Lost, Johnny Quest, and all that. And we're going to be making an upgrade so that the members of the Axis of Awesome can log in and watch them. I've had the $6 Million Man on for 5 seasons, like 3 times in a row, because so much of the Venture Brothers show comes from that, like shooting Steve Austin out in a torpedo, his tan uniform and all that. And I think that finishes up my list. Just a shout out again to Ladderwell Navy and Zukov's Attic. Pat, you're cracking me up, man.
All right, brother. We got to let you go, man.
What I
Thanks,
got now, I got to.
And the Monday train wreck has begun.
Traveling Joe wanted to say hi.
Oh, that's the Traveling Joe?
Yep.
I joined the Axis of Awesome too late. I never got to see the Traveling Joe. What
he
you got
is in all
down?
his glory.
Hey, you want to explain to our watchers what this is?
This is part of my Mystery Inc. team. This is the ghost of Captain Cutler. I'm working on him now. I'm not done with him, but I haven't done here pretty soon. But I'm just working on all the Scooby-Doo villains right now.
So that's what's new in the zoo for you. How about the pumpkin thing behind you? You didn't explain that last week, dude. You have the
These are me and my wife are huge Halloween fans. All of these are vintage Halloween decorations from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, early 50s. Paper mache pumpkins. There's stuff from Germany.
wow.
It's just really, really cool stuff. But we're huge Halloween fans.
Cool.
But a lot of money in that cabinet right there.
I bet, man. From the 20s and 30s, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jillian Freeman, thanks for watching. The Skull Reviews is with us on chats. His internet was a little wonky tonight, so sorry, bro.
No, just I wanted to thank Peter. He sent me his admission for the TLC Joe No Joe bunker build, and he sent me some extras, and I wanted to thank him. I'm going to do a video, but he sent me this 3D husky. Yeah, I'm going to paint this just like our dog Dakota. I just want to thank Peter for that. That was really awesome. And he sent me one of the gold satellites. I mean, check that out.
Nice.
That is fun. Yeah.
I mean, that's 3D printed. It's perfect.
It looks exactly like the original. Yeah.
It is, and I love the color gold.
Yeah.
Definitely be using that in a photo story. And he sent me little AOA.
Oh yeah, the AOA. Nice.
Very cool. But thank you, Peter.
Yep. Logic Blaster's in the house. Thank you for joining us again tonight, sir. One day we're gonna get Logic. We're gonna get him on, man. I'm telling you. Logic Blaster's joining us one time. Pat, what do you got new in the zoo, brother?
I got nothing. Just working on my Arizona challenge. Trying to wrap that up. Other than that, not much. Little thin here. Just waiting for some good weather so we can get outside and do some stuff. And
dude, you need to move south, bro.
I don't know. I'm kind of like in Arizona. I hear it's although I hear it dips into the 60s sometimes. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's
a little chilly.
The struggle's real.
I know you keep telling me, man.
If you came to Arizona, the Arizona build might go faster.
Maybe because I could do some painting outside. But
we got to say hi to this guy tonight since he was our newest inductee into the Axis of Awesome. Dude, you look like you're in the man cave tonight. It's looking a little dark there. You all right?
It is a little dark. It is a little dark. I didn't want to, put the spotlight on me tonight, so I figured I'd be in the background. But I do have my 3 3/4 inch sweatshirt on tonight. Snowing is half the battle.
Okay, it's backwards. Yeah, snowing is half the battle.
Yeah, I know. What are you gonna do? New in the zoo for me. I've been flocking like mad. I got a buddy of mine who lives close by. He's going to send me 8 heads in the next couple days. I flocked a couple that I posted. I don't know if anyone saw them. Did a really nice brown blend. And then if anyone saw, I did go see Cocaine Bear the other night. And
did you?
After seeing Cocaine Bear, I decided, well, why not a Cocaine Beaver? So yesterday I went out and it was a little chilly, but I put a couple figures together. Put some outdoor gear on them, nice parkas. If you saw the picture, and took a couple shots with the beaver, and that beaver went to town and built himself a whole entire lodge, all coked up. So that was a fun little clip that I did.
Very cool. I did go see a movie, but it wasn't that one the other day. So, all right, guys, we have let's try to catch up on some chats here. We have Sergeant Soldier's back, and he's on there. Filmaholic, another one of our. Another one of our guys there, huh?
What's up, Greg?
I'm waiting for Filmaholic to sign in. I actually sent him a link today. I thought he was going to join us tonight. Phil Mahalik, if you check your email right now, if you're listening,
You could jump on.
you could jump on. I'm waiting. Tom's not joining us apparently, so
Who was that? Who was that first person? Was it Jillian something?
Jillian, yeah.
Okay.
Skull
Hi,
review.
Jillian.
Thanks for the compliment on the flocking skull reviews. Appreciate that. And I did see Sergeant Soldier got all of those heads. That was big bucks, 121 bucks. I was watching that eBay go off the other night.
Yeah, I watched it too after he told me not to bid on it. I said, I won't bid on it, but I want to see how this goes down now.
Yeah, I felt bad. I thought that went a little too much.
Yeah, a
You
little
can't.
bit.
You can't hide money.
No.
No.
Hey guys, we got about 3 minutes before our special guest comes on. So my question to you guys tonight actually is going to be, how did you come up with your YouTube channel name? How did you come up with your name, Pat? You're up first.
Well, it started with I was on my old tag on my kids made me get on Call of Duty, and my tag on there was Killer Elite, and but we didn't want to use that for this, so James said, "How about Elite Joe?" And I said, "It's kind of boring, you know." And then I was starting my Action Man kick, and so we threw it all in a hat, and we came up with Elite Action Joe. And since we were primarily doing movies or stop motion, or so we thought at the beginning, we decided to add studios just to make it sound fancy, I guess.
Right on. G.I. Joe Lost Chronicles. How'd you come up with that?
Well, originally my YouTube channel was called G.I. Joe Reloaded, but that had already been taken. So I'm thinking, it's like, well, when I first started my channel, it was strictly just nothing but photo stories. So I had to incorporate the name G.I. Joe. And I was thinking, and I came up, well, the Lost Chronicles. I thought, that sounds kind of intriguing, maybe a little mysterious, maybe stories that haven't been told before. So
Yeah.
That's how I came up with it.
Right on. Angelo.
G.I. Joe AT, that's where it's at, the adventure team. I wanted it to be the continuing adventures of G.I. Joe. Just thought it was a little too long. So I just shortened it to G.I. Joe AT.
And I know you guys are all wondering where I came up with my channel name.
Yeah. A lot of thought.
I put a lot of thought into it. Actually, I've been on YouTube since 2012, and I had to create a channel. I didn't think I was ever going to put anything on it, so I just went with my name so people could find me. And then I didn't really start posting anything until COVID hit, till 2020. And I was sitting around, I was like, damn, guys were putting stuff up about their toy soldiers, and people were putting stuff up about G.I. Joes. I was like, I'd do that. Let me throw some stuff up here. So yeah, I just never got around to changing the title, but I guess everybody knows the Paul Knapp channel now, and live from the man cave now. So
Yep.
Yeah,
all right, guys. Well,
okay.
I guess if nobody else from the AOA is going to be joining us, I'm saving it for Tom. He must have fell asleep again. His meds must have kicked in.
That Mexican food will knock you right out.
Is that what he did? He went out for Mexican again?
I'm guessing.
I don't want to keep our special guest waiting anymore. I'm going to bring him in. It is a quarter after the hour. And as always, we're going to play our game, our favorite game. Guess who it is? So he does have his screen covered, so you don't have any idea. I don't know. Can you see his name there? Did he put? Rufus T. Firefly.
What's it say?
Rufus T. Firefly. So let's see. We'll just keep everybody up since he doesn't have a background. Special guest, are you there? Yes or no?
I am here.
Okay. I don't think Pat's gonna guess that voice. Let's start with Pat. Yes or no questions only, Pat. Yes or no questions only.
He always starts with me.
Well, I'm
Okay,
looking at
let's
my
see.
screen. You're like, okay, we can go with Adam. Adam,
I
go
got
ahead.
Okay. Am I subscribed to your channel?
I don't know.
That's not a yes or no.
Hey, man, He might have 1 million subscribers, you know? I mean, he doesn't know everybody that's on his channel.
Of course.
I love the
All right.
voice, though.
It's the voice that gets you, right?
I'm digging the voice.
Yeah, it's cool.
And do you want to go next?
Sure.
Angela?
Did you collect any of the, let's see, pastel or neon glow colored 3 3/4 inch GI Joes? I believe they came out in the 90s.
Yes.
I think he's 90 years old. All right, Pat, your turn. Hey, Pat, is this one harder than last week?
Yeah. Well, you threw me off at the beginning of last week.
Yeah.
You kind of tricked me. But how about do you collect anything besides action figures?
No.
This is a good one, man.
I think Angela
Like-
knows.
Sounds like Captain Kangaroo.
Filmaholic. He needs to get on here.
Yeah.
Adam?
Do you do your own customs?
No.
I think it's Santa Claus. Sounds like a sick Santa Claus. Angelo.
Yes.
Don't guess yet. Don't guess yet,
No.
even if you know.
No guessing.
One
no
more
guessing.
round of yes or no's.
I want to know if he has the Mickey Mouse version of Cobra Commander, 3 3/4 inch.
Yes.
He knows. He knows.
Is there only like 2 of those in the world, or
No, they were when I'm sorry, I'm going to take up some time. When they had the little the flag points on the back of packages, you could send them in and you could get figures. And
Gotcha.
I had no idea who Cobra Commander was back then, and I ended up getting like 7 of them, and a couple of them had a different emblem. The Cobra symbol emblem on his chest was not quite filled in, so they kind of called it the Mickey Mouse version.
okay? I'll take your word for that because I didn't have Pat.
Okay, because I think Angelo knows, I'm going to take a stab and just guess Cocaine Bear. Is the guest Cocaine Bear? Based on the
Not
voice and the fact that
this
Angelo
evening,
knows.
but maybe later.
Oh shit! This is a train wreck, man. Where's Jeff, man? We got to get Jeff to. Adam, I guess it's back to you. Come on, man. One more round.
Dude, I got gosh.
If I give you
Are
one
you-
hint, you guys will all know. I know it. That's why I don't want to.
Are you subscribed to my channel?
I think so.
We got to do this with every guest, man. Angelo,
Do you
want to take a
have
stab at it, or do you?
No, I don't have a clue.
Oh, really?
Do you have the
Okay.
name
knows
of
who
a
it is.
snake in your name on your YouTube channel?
I'm sorry, I couldn't completely hear the question. Could you ask it again?
Do you by chance have the name of a snake in your YouTube channel?
Yes.
All right, Pat. Your chance to finish this off, or
I'm horrible at this game.
you guessed the last 2 weeks. Come on, man.
Sounds like Julia Child.
I might have,
It
I
does.
might have an idea. I might have an idea now.
I think it sounds like Chevy Chase playing Julia Childs in a movie. But so that's what I'm guessing, and I'm not asking any more questions.
You're not asking more questions.
Is it Chevy Chase?
Is it Chevy Chase?
Not today.
Could I get a stab at it?
Well, Ange, if anybody's gonna know it, it's you.
Cobra Lang.
Viper Island.
No.
Cobra Lang.
Cobra Lang.
No.
You guys are getting closer though with the whole Cobra thing. If anybody's
I got a
chatting
clue.
and wants to take a guess, because we got some questions to ask
Come
a
on,
special
Peter.
guest, but
Come on, Peter. Give us the answer on the side. Peter,
Peter's the only one that knows that that's cheating, man.
I would have
What?
swore Angelo knew.
No,
I
With
did-
that, with that
too. I
Mickey
thought
Mouse
for sure
Cobra
he knew.
Commander, that was a.
Yeah.
I thought for sure.
Logic Blaster, you got to know.
All right, let me tell you, he's from Oklahoma. He actually talks about that on the show, I think. He has a live show every Sunday night, I believe, and on sometimes Thursdays, I think.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Don't do it. Nobody do that movie line.
Logic Blaster, no idea, really?
I'm clueless. I don't have a clue.
I really don't either.
Well, this will be the first week that none of you guys have guessed it. Sergeant Soldier said that the voice is throwing him off. Special guest, can you give them any hints that I'm not thinking about without revealing your YouTube channel?
In cold weather, I like to wear a hoodie and drink cocoa.
That's very true. I forgot about that.
The only thing I can think of is Cold Slither when you said that. Well,
Dude, you are
that-
so
that
close
really-
with Cobra and Cold Slither and Snake.
That really narrows it down.
He's all 3 3/4. I can tell you much. He did one video that I saw on a 160. All 3 3/4. If you're a 3 3/4 fan and you're on the chat right now and you don't know who this guy is, then
The Logic Blaster doesn't know. That's
you
surprising.
know, and he's a big time. I thought he collected a lot of those.
Peter doesn't know. He's been around since YouTube started. So, you know,
I got a list of questions to ask our guests. I mean, are you guys giving up or what, man?
I think we're going to
I
have
don't
to.
have a clue.
bring him on.
Firefly, do you want to reveal who you are or pull up the thing? Maybe if they see your
Yes,
face,
I will
I don't know.
reveal
Maybe
my
they don't-
identity.
If they don't watch your channel, maybe they don't know who you are.
It is I, Hooded Cobra Commander 788.
Oh,
And
okay.
as the audience gets a look at my face, they're like, "No, put it back up. No, I don't want to see that guy. Put the thing back up."
Dude, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. That was the most fun I've had in a while. That was fun.
That's
That was
because
good.
you're used to hosting all the time. Now you can just kick back and be a guest, you know?
Yeah, no, this is awesome. This is awesome.
So big thanks to Skull Reviews for hooking us up with you. I appreciate that. I'm going to bring you up big on the screen here real quick. If you want to change your Rufus T Firefly, you can type that. You can change that now and type it in your real.
Oh, you know, I'll leave it. I've always told people that, like, if I have to go under an alias, that's what it'll be. Everybody will be able to find me.
Right on. Hey, my first question to you tonight, sir. What type of channel would you say you run?
I run a toy review channel focused on one series of toys, so exclusively on, well, all right, more or less exclusively, semi-exclusively on the 82 to 94 era of G.I. Joe. I dabble in other things here and there, but it's mostly focused on that. It is a channel that has both video and audio, so there will be moving pictures on your screen as well as words in English that I speak into the microphone.
So that narrows it down for them if they want to check you out, HCC788. My next question, how did you come up with that HCC788? I mean, I know what it means, but for our viewers that may not know, or...
Hooded Cobra Commander 788 is the channel name that I started when I wanted to start doing G.I. Joe on YouTube. And I wanted, first of all, something that would be unique, something that hadn't been taken before. And I wanted to allude to some of the toys that I really liked. And I could have gone just with Cobra Commander, but the Hooded Cobra Commander action figure from 1984 had a special allure to it. It was special. You could only get it through the mail away offer. And so I went with Hooded Cobra Commander. And of course, the 788, that's the numbers on the side of the HISS tank.
Yep.
So
That's cool.
So Hooded Cobra Commander 788, that became the channel name. And then I realized very quickly that's really long. And it's hard to type out a whole bunch of times. And it's difficult to explain. I have to spell it out to people. So it eventually got shortened to HCC788. So that, that's what we'll go with. My friend Chris gave me the nickname Hoodie Coco, which that also works. So whatever you want, just don't call me late for dinner. You can call me whatever you want.
Right on, buddy. Anybody else got a question for him?
Oh, absolutely. Favorite 3 3/4 inch figure?
That would be Stalker version 1.5. That's the swivel arm Stalker from 1983. I've got a lot of nostalgia for that figure, and the character was my favorite in the comic book series. So the figure first came out in 1982, of course, with the straight arms.
Yeah.
And it just seemed really special because it had that camouflage, right? And none of the other 82 figures had camouflage, and it was it just looked really cool. Snake Eyes was special, of course, because he was all black, and that was nice and everything. But the camouflage, the beret, all of that, that's the figure I've got the most attachment to. And of course, the articulation update that they came out with in '83 just makes it much more playable. So plus those 82 figures, the thumbs break off. So
Yes.
favorite would have to be the 83 Stalker.
All right.
Very cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Adam sitting there going, yeah, I didn't have any of those toys.
Dude, that was before my time. I just I've never collected the 3.5 inch figures. I don't know anything about them. So
I was doing a little math at work today. And I hate to do math, but I was doing a little math. That 4 to 5 year age gap, okay. As we get older, 50 to 55, that's no big deal. You know what I mean? But when we were in grade school, you know what I mean? That 4 to 5 years is a huge difference. 1977, I went to see Star Wars. I was in 3rd grade.
Mm-hmm.
1982, when these guys were collecting stuff, I was a junior, senior in high school. You know what I mean? So I was out of that toy thing. You know what I mean? I was at least 8th grade, 9th grade. That 4 to 5 years, man, I think is like huge. Even though we all grew up in the 80s. I don't know. HCC, what do you say?
No,
you're
right.
My generation came along about the time when they started marketing, using a lot of like multimedia marketing for toys. So we got the cartoons, we got the comic books and stuff. So it just feels different. And although I don't actively collect toys from before that era, I do know something about them, and I try to find them when I can. I try to learn about them, and it feels different. There was a transition there, and G.I. Joe at the time had a lot to do with that transition. So did He-Man and the others that came along in that era. But yeah, I remember Star Wars when it was re-released. So I would have been about 4 years old. I was only 2 years old when it was first released, but it came back to theaters. But when I was 7 in 1982, I was the exact age. I was at right in the marketing target for who they were wanting to market G.I. Joe to at the time. And, just sue me for being a kid, in the exact demographic that they want to target. It totally worked. I got sucked in. But yeah, the toys from just a few years before, they feel different. They just seem different. Not just, I don't mean just like the feel of the plastic, but just the way they're marketed, the way they're designed. It's a different thing. A credit to Star Wars, because Kenner Star Wars kind of started some of that trend toward more vehicle centric and smaller action figures. Yeah, there was a transition, and I came along kind of after the transition, kind of after the trend was fully into the 3 3/4 inch scale.
Right on. Adam, do you have, other than Star Wars, do you have it? You have the Star Wars figures, right?
No, now my younger brother Jason was huge. He had so many Star Wars. He's 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you talk about 82. It's like I was getting ready to graduate high school and go into the Army.
Yeah.
So that was before my time. But my brother was huge in the Star Wars. He did get into the smaller GI Joes. But for me, it was the adventure team, and then, like you said, the marketing aspect. Two different worlds. From the early mid 70s up until the early 80s. And I was kind of out of that phase of collecting. It's like I was graduating high school, had joined the military, so I just missed out on that. But my younger brother, he was.
Yeah, I remember the commercials though. I mean, in 8th grade, 9th grade.
But I
you
did.
know what I mean, I wanted that aircraft carrier so bad, man. But I was like, shit, I can't get this. I'm a sophomore in high school.
But I did enjoy the Marvel Comics G.I. Joe. I did.
Yeah, Larry's comic, and Larry's, he's the guy. We have to give him a lot of credit for how that line developed. But I would have to imagine that if you grew up with larger scale figures, with more accessories and uniforms and stuff like that, it would be hard to transition to the smaller scale. It really was they had entirely different goal. And again, with Star Wars, they needed the spaceships, they needed the Millennium Falcon in a scale that they could sell and it wouldn't, cost $5,000. So they had to scale things down. And once that became the trend, the idea is you make vehicles, like all these vehicles with all these features, and then the little guys have to fit in them. So yeah, that was just by the time G.I. Joe came around, the new G.I. Joe came around in 82, Star Wars had really already kicked off that trend. But I have to imagine that if you were young at the before the beginning of the Star Wars phase, so like maybe you're you like Super Joe, or you like the Mego figures, and if you were still a kid and getting toys through that transition, that must have been an unusual time. And you know what? That's something that I've never actually talked to anybody about. That's now something I'm really curious about. Is like, how, as a child, how did you handle that transition if you were actually a kid through both phases?
To me, I thought the marketing, the actual figures, they had cheapened everything. It's like, make it small,
Yeah.
And like you said, the full 12-inch action figures, I mean, they came with a lot of accessories, but to your point, the 3.5-inch figures, the vehicles were the accessories. I mean, that was the accessories, was the vehicles, the play sets. But being on the opposite end of that coin, it felt weird to me that I was used to the full size, and then they're coming out with these little things. It's like, I didn't get.
I couldn't really totally understand that. Kirk Bazigian, who was the VP of marketing of Boys Toys for Hasbro at the time, he has said that it's a vehicle line. The vehicles drives a line, and the figures are almost like accessories to the vehicles. So that was their marketing goal. Now, jump ahead, 35, 40 years, and you've got the 6-inch scale, you've got the classified series, and, they have some vehicles, but you're not targeting at the same market anymore, or at least the same demographic. You're now targeting toward guys like me. And although everybody coveted the vehicles back then, what everybody remembers is the characters. We fell in love with the characters, Stalker and Flint and Duke and Shipwreck. We cared about the characters, and that's what we want now. That we want we want the larger scale because now we can have the removable hats and the all the bits and bobs. But I just think that it's interesting that there can be sometimes a disconnect between the intent of the marketers and what the audience accepts and latches onto. Because we did care about the vehicles. Obviously, the vehicles were awesome, but we weren't like reading the story of the vehicles in the comic book, and we weren't getting attached to the vehicles in the animated series. It was the characters, and all good media, all good stories are about people, and that's ultimately what still endures.
And I don't know if you don't mind, I'm gonna jump in and talking about that. And with the marketing, Paul, I was born in '69, brother. I was 13. I was hiding my toys in the closet because my friends would come over and want to drink beer, and I had all my toys, and they were all the 3 3/4 inch. With that marketing, and it was with the 12-inch. It just seemed like with the 12-inch, we had to create the story. We had to be have that imagination. I talked a little bit about this last week with having the imagination. With the 3 3/4 inch line, with that marketing, with the comic book, with the cartoon series, all that was already out there. That's all you had to do was reenact one of those storylines from the comic, from the cartoon. And you had all those figures to do that with. So they were already feeding you some of that imagination and some of that, so you can go ahead and reenact it. So I think that really bought into it. Star Wars had all the movies, and then they came up with all, unfortunately, they had those straight arms. They were terrible. When G.I. Joe, I think, really took off is because they had all of that other stuff for people to relate to. Where the 12-inch, we didn't have that. We had to have our own imagination to go bury him in the backyard. Here we had the origin story of Snake Eyes, and we had all that really, really great stuff.
That is a huge difference, and I think that's fair pointing out. And I think that's one of the criticisms, first of all, that parents at the time had with the way toys were marketed in the early to mid 80s. And to some degree they're right. I mean, they were selling these things to us with these media tie-ins. And I don't think that it's possible for a kid to see it at the time, but I mean, here we are, still reading the comic books, still watching the cartoons, still getting the toys, and it did kind of latch onto us. I will say though that people have different play patterns, and it was never my play pattern to copy what I saw in the animated series or the comic book. Sometimes the characters would sort of be the same, but like when the neighborhood kids got together, we would have these grand adventures that would span the entire neighborhood, and just it would never match any. It couldn't match any storyline that they had in the cartoon or the comic book, because the guys would die. They'd get blown up. Not literally. In our imaginations, they get blown up. They get shot. We'd have casualties. And next week we'd start another one. They'd all be alive again. But there are a lot of fans from that era who did mimic what they saw in the media. I think that was sort of true of Star Wars as well. And if you look at the Star Wars advertising at the time, like the television ads, a lot of them they were trying to show you how you could use the figures to recreate what you saw in the movie. And I mean, that's fine, if you're doing a puppet show, if you're doing an action figure version of that. But that always just seemed very limiting to me. Just speaking for myself, I enjoyed the comic book series. I was more of a comic book guy than the cartoon guy, but I enjoyed the comic book series for what it was. I continued to read the comic book series after I stopped collecting the toys for at least a little while. But I think that there is a fair criticism that all these media tie-ins were very much designed to sell stuff to kids. And as kids at the time, we were very much buying it.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. You touched on it a little bit earlier when Adam asked you about the 6-inch figures. That was like one of my next questions to you. Do you feel the 3 3/4 scale is starting to die off because of these new 1/12 scale figures? I mean, I see it with our stuff. I see it with superheroes. I mean, Migos 8 inches pretty much, you know what I mean? It's just for collectors of old guys. It's not the new people. Adam, I mean, would you say
Would you say what?
would you say well, last week we talked about the 1/6 scale dying off. Did you think the 3 3/4 is dying off as well?
I think it has slowed down. Yeah, I think that to some point it has. I think the 8-inch Migos have had a resurgence in the market, which is really cool. I just wish Hasbro would bring back the 12-inch line. You know, I just wish they, you know, I mean, that was their flagship product. You know, you have
Brian, what do you
those
think?
guys. I mean, we're ready to buy this stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
we would love to see this in the stores.
Brian, what do you think about the 3 3/4? Is it?
Well, I think that it is trending away from that, and I think the reason for that is the change in the age of the collector. I would say that that rumors of kids not playing with toys is a little bit exaggerated. You know, I have kids; they played with toys, but they're not playing with plastic to the degree that they used to. So, you know, they're not looking for these wicked awesome vehicles and the action figures that go with them. So they transition out of that. So the plastic is marketed more toward a nostalgia market. And the nostalgia market, I mean, you can go after the vintage stuff. You can hunt down and collect the vintage stuff, which I do. But for something new, I mean, to continue to make the line relevant and to continue to have people buy new things, I think the 6-inch scale kind of hits that sweet spot. We're not looking for vehicles so much, but we want the characters that we loved at the time. And that at that scale, you can do so much more than you can at the 3 3/4 inch scale. They're more expensive, you know. So I mean, that alone means that you're mostly going to get adults rather than kids. And the accessories are much more intricate. I think that might be even difficult for a kid to play with it. If you handed it to a kid, they might have a little bit of a hard time with it. So yeah, I don't know that the 6-inch scale has killed a 3 3/4 inch scale, but I just think that the audience is getting older and is looking for something else. There are still 3 3/4 inch scale figures. Hasbro has come out with some new O-ring figures, but that's still very much targeted at the nostalgia market. But for the new stuff, for something new to put on the shelf that looks pretty and has lots of joints and lots of articulation and lots of accessories, that 6-inch scale, you can do things with that you just can't do at the 3 3/4 inch scale. So that's going to have an allure to modern collectors.
Right on. We got somebody from the UK just chimed in here, man. It's got to be late over there, right?
From the United States.
I know. I'm going to reiterate what Angelo was talking about. I think this generation, if it doesn't come in a video game, I mean, they're not interested. I mean, there's zero imagination.
This generation now.
Yes.
And it's hard. And it's hard. Like, we're the collectors now. I mean, the kids, if you go to a store and you walk through the aisles, you're going to see old farts like us, you know, looking for the figures on the shelves, not the kids. And like the 12-inch or like the 6-inch ones, and I have almost all of those too. I guess it's an addiction. I have those the 6-inch ones, and they are very difficult to pose. You got to be careful when you're bending the leg or bending at the ankle and stuff like that. So I could see kids playing with it and being like all disgruntled that they couldn't get it to move the way they wanted to. and things breaking, and it seems like they're a little bit more delicate because I feel they're being made for a collector, not for someone who's going to go play in the dirt.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean,
Go ahead.
again, I'll bring in what he just said. Growing up with the vintage 12-inch, they were rugged.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Very
were
much
meant
so.
to be.
Yeah, and
I mean, you have these figures, they're going on 50, 60 years old, and they're still around.
yeah, and in the 6-inch scale, like the classified series, if you're looking for something that looks really nice and has lots of detail, it's got you covered. If you're looking for something rugged, it's just not that. It's not designed for that. It's not made for that. It's just not that.
I don't know if you saw my last video. I just picked this up this week.
Yes.
And
I
all
saw
the
that diorama.
Dungeons and Dragons set.
I love that. You did an awesome job.
Everybody that did a review on it said boil it in water first before you try to move it. I'm like, it's a brand new freaking figure. Why do I got to boil it in water? You know, I'm like, but I just had to have it, man. I was like, I love that cartoon growing up, Dungeons and Dragons. So I picked up that line, but that's the only, 6-inch line that I have. I don't collect anything else. So, dude, I only got him on for 13 more minutes, and he said he's going to charge me extra if I keep him longer than an hour. So
for that reason, I have to talk slower.
Well, I got a lot of questions.
Hang on, I got 4 more on my list here. Hang on. HCC788. What was your favorite G.I. Joe figure and vehicle as a kid growing up?
My favorite figure, the aforementioned Stalker. My favorite vehicle was the Killer Whale from 1984, the hovercraft. That was the coolest thing. It was big. It had guns everywhere. It shot things off and launched things and had lots of spaces for, you could do anything for that. On land, on the water, everything. It was very, had lots of different ways to play with it. I just love that thing. Fantastic vehicle.
That was like one of the best commercials I remember as a kid growing up. I was like, man, I wish I was younger because that would have been the first toy I'd grab right there, man.
It's
Pat,
nice.
Pat, you had some growing up. You said you were kind of at that end. No.
Well, yeah, I had I had a younger brother as well, like Adam. So him and the neighbors were into the smaller figures. I was like Angela. I still had some 12-inch that I had hidden in the closet because I wasn't supposed to be playing anymore. But, people want to go hang out in the woods after school and, smoke cigarettes or whatever. And I'd just be like, I got to get home. And I'd bust home. And, all the younger kids, they'd have like a huge battle going with the 3 3/4. And I just jump right in. And they definitely were that. I saw that Filmaholic had said on the side that, and he reiterated was the vehicles really is what that was about. And it was so cool because, with our 12-inch figures, they had some good vehicles.
Yes.
But when we were growing up, just because they had a bunch didn't mean your parents could afford to buy them all. So you were lucky if you had a Jeep or, a boat or, one of the choppers. So it was cool. And it was definitely easier to sort of what they call now army build. You could buy, you could have 4 or 5 Cobra bad guys or whatever. It was very different for me. Like, I think Adam was saying that my guys were so rugged. I'd end up breaking half the stuff that I was playing with, and they don't, they get mad at me. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I used to do that all the time with my big. Like, what? I didn't make them. I didn't make them cheap, but they were in their own right. They were very cool. Stalker was one of my favorites also growing up because it did have the camouflage, and I had from high school on, I was, going to the military. So it had that more military feel. But it's different kinds of world. Like, I think that's why a lot of 12-inch guys do kit bashing and customizing more so because we didn't have as much as the 3 3/4-inch people had. We kind of had to come up with our own ideas and own thoughts, but they're both good lines, but the 12-inch definitely more rugged. And Adam is also right on. Hasbro needs to get their head out of We need some 12-inch.
Well, if you watch ACC's channel, he's a supporter of Hasbro, I believe.
Well, I mean,
Are you not?
I like that they make GI Joe. I like that they still have them coming out. I am critical when they need to be criticized, and I'm gonna the like Joe Con back in the day, back when Joe Con was still a thing. I mean, that was a 12-inch collector convention for the longest time until us young guys started, taking over. But by the end of that convention, by the time they wrapped it up, were basically totally neglecting the 12-inch collector. And so what was it, 2014, they did the 50th anniversary line. That's a 50th anniversary of the 1964 series, and it was all 4-inch scale, modern, Real American Hero inspired stuff, and I found that very odd. That was a strange choice. Well, I do now know why they did that. They did it because they basically were given zero budget to celebrate G.I. Joe's 50th anniversary. So they basically had to work with what they had. But that's unfortunate. I mean, the G.I. Joe is what made Hasbro into the multinational corporation that it is. G.I. Joe in the 80s, G.I. Joe in the 60s made it a major toy company, a major player. G.I. Joe in the 80s got the ball rolling on all these other things, your My Little Ponies and your Transformers and all these things that made G.I. Joe big. And the 50th anniversary comes along, and you can't really do anything for it. You got nothing. That's not super cool. And while my generation certainly had like a vehicle-centric line and lots of tie-in media and stuff, what the 12-inch scale had that you just can't do at the smaller scale is all of the equipment, all of the uniforms, all of the things that go with it that allow you to kind of do anything you want. You could have a jungle battle, you could have a desert battle, you could do these things with the same figure but with different equipment, and we never had that. That was just not even a thing. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but I am disheartened by Hasbro's neglect of the 12-inch scale collector. And in fact, I think what they came out with, before they finally just stopped doing it, it's kind of lackluster. They did, at least what I saw, it didn't seem like they put a whole lot of effort into it. So I would hope that they would do something with it. I mean, they're catering to a rather niche audience by coming out with these Kickstarters with the Sky Striker and whatnot. They could do something. Maybe they can't do a lot, but they could at least do something for the 12-inch collector and for that era, because I think that's such an important era for the brand and for the company, that it deserves to be acknowledged.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think that's the reason why Pat and me and some of the people are ready to burn Hasbro to the ground. And
We got a takeover
like
plan.
a phoenix rising from the flames.
I need plausible
But no,
deniability
that
here.
makes-
So
We're live, guys.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. Also, me no speak English. I don't know. Who are you people?
Hey,
But no, I mean, but getting back to your point, I mean, they should continue to do what they're doing, but embrace the 12-inch collectors too. Do a little bit for everybody. But like I said, that was their flagship. That's what put Hasbro on the map, and they've just completely turned their back.
They did
on that line.
I still, even not being a 12-inch collector, it just still seemed odd that we were celebrating the 50th anniversary with just a bunch of reissue 4-inch figures and vehicles. I know that the brand team was given $0 to spend on it, but I mean, and I don't blame the brand team. These are decisions that are made by people higher up, and I would hold them responsible. This matters. GI Joe has a cultural significance and has for decades, and they should acknowledge that. They should at least do something for the fans from the earlier eras, and that's my soapbox.
Well, and I know everything's about price points. It's like people our age, we have disposable income. We grew up with this. We're ready to buy. Put it out there. We'll buy it. You'll make money.
Now, I do have a question, though. I have a question because a lot of the stuff that was coming out on the 12-inch scale, like in the mid to late 90s, was basically upscaled from the 3 3/4 inch stuff. It was like Real American Hero characters in a 12-inch scale. Is that what you want? Is that something you can get behind, or are you wanting something else? That's what I thought.
I want vintage Adventure Team. That's what I want.
That's what I thought. See, that made sense to me, and I thought it was just, it felt odd that they seemed like they were trying to get collectors from that era who at the time would have probably been in their like late 20s, early 30s, trying to get them in, but still using the IP that they had available, rather than give them something that what they actually wanted. It was, here's what we have, and we'll make it bigger. So
I think they were trying to make a bridge between the vintage collector and the 3.5-inch collector. Like I said, taking those figures, making them full size, trying to mesh the two collector groups. And for me, it didn't work.
It's a nice try, but I mean, the purpose, the whole feel of the two lines, they're different. They had different purposes. They had different play patterns. And it on paper, I'm sure it looks really good, like a great idea to just merge them together, but they don't merge quite so much.
Yeah. Jeff from Skunkworks is with us, finally, our president of the AOA. TAR Productions, thanks for joining us too. TAR Productions, and Eddie Burton joined us too while you guys were talking. So, hey, I got you for 2 more minutes. Can we fit in like let's see, 10 more questions in 2 minutes? Or
all right, speed questions, go.
speed round. Okay. If you had to pick just one toy out of your collection, the house is burning down and you got to grab one, which is it going to be?
I'll tell you. I got it. I know what it is. It's going to be this right here, this play set that you can't see it, but the 1982 Sears exclusive cardboard Cobra,
with the cardboard back
play set. The reason I grabbed that one is because my house is just burned down. I can sell that thing, and I'll be covered. I'll be all right. If you're going to put me in that kind of position.
We asked everybody last week, and they were all picking their favorite ones from childhood. And
you sentimental types, sure.
Straight up money, man.
Type, you do what you want. My house just burned down. You just told me my house burned down. I gotta think on my feet here.
See, we wouldn't have to worry though, because the Adventure Team would find their own way out. The little guys would just melt. The A-Team would get out on their own. We'd meet them out in the backyard.
Here's the bridge the gap. If you want to bridge the gap, and we should have done it right. Here's the stalker I made. Hang on.
Let me make it larger.
Yeah, that's what they should market right there.
That was good.
That would bridge the gap.
That's what he should have looked like by doing it as a 12-inch figure, not the garbage Barbie doll bendable crap that they had.
I'm wondering if anybody from Hasbro's I wonder if anybody from Hasbro's actually watching.
I hope so.
Adam, don't flip them off. Don't.
All right, it's 9 o'clock, so I got one more question to ask.
Fire away.
I always ask an off-the-wall question, and I ask it to the entire panel here. Who was your best friend growing up? We're going to start off with our special guest.
We had my brother and I. When I say we, my brother and I had a friend named Sam that lived in the neighborhood, He was also really into GI Joe. He lived with his grandparents. I never knew what happened to his parents, but his grandparents spoiled him. So he got the aircraft carrier and the Terradrome and all of this. He got all the expensive stuff. So like between the three of us, we had basically everything. We spent a lot of time at Sam's house. His backyard, our backyard, whichever. We just bring stuff over. It would be a big battlefield. Sam, miss you, Sam. Hope to connect with you again someday, Sam.
Pat, did you have a Sam growing up?
Well, so we had this young man named Brian in our neighborhood. He was more my younger brother's age, but we all kind of played together and stuff. And so he would be in the battles with the 3 3/4 inches. And later on, my brother moved away, and me and Brian became better friends. And then into adulthood, we both realized that drinking was almost as fun as GI Joe. So we spent a lot of time doing that. So we knew each other at a younger age through GI Joe, and continued into adulthood from there.
Adam, best friend.
Two, Chris Holloway and Steve Spence. We played Army together, but they're also GI Joe collectors. And it was a funny thing. Whatever I didn't have, the other two guys seemed to have, and whatever they didn't have, I seem to have. So we could pool all our stuff together and really have some cool adventures. So
Nice.
Shout out to those guys.
Angelo?
Well, mine is going to have to be my cousin. Where I lived in Rotterdam, it was like Little Italy. All my relatives lived nearby. And my cousin Paul, he was about 4 or 5 years younger than I. So I had an excuse to play with the 3 3/4 inch with him. We did all kinds of Army type things. Dress up all time. We had these awesome AK-47s that looked just like the real deal. It was almost full size. And there was a company that sold squirt guns, and they didn't have any orange tips. They were black. We had Uzis and all this stuff. So we had a good old time playing GI Joe, playing dress up battles in the backyard. So definitely my cousin Paul.
Very cool. Well, Mr. HCC788, we'd like to make you an honorary member of our Axis of Awesome. I don't really need it, but you might want to just
thank you. I think awesome may be overstating it a little bit. I'll start with in the axis of not bad, and we'll work up to it. We'll work up to it. I don't know if I'm quite earned the
It's
awesome
a very exclusive group.
yet.
It's a very exclusive group. Can you
Yeah.
feel the weight on your shoulders? Can you feel the weight on your shoulders? With the...
I do.
All right. So
I have to see
It's
my
the
chiropractor.
awesome of
Yeah.
and if you decide
That's our motto.
if you decide to turn to the dark side, which is the 1/6 scale, we'll take you in.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we can do. We'll see. Yeah. Well, being included and being in the in group is everything to me. So, absolutely. Peer. I'll anytime I can give in to peer pressure. That's what I try to do.
Can you, before you cut off, can you explain to these guys Cobra conversions real quick?
Every summer, a bunch of GI Joe fan creators on YouTube and podcasts and websites and other things get together in the month of July, and we do Cobra related content just as a way to kind of celebrate the brand and to collaborate and to work together. We have lots of crossovers, and we appear in each other's videos and on each other's podcasts. We just kind of have this big thing that we do for the entire month of July. There is we put up a calendar on my website on HCC788.com. So each day through the month, we have a special presenter who will do their Cobra content. And it's basically just a big fun thing that the community does just to kind of raise the awareness of GI Joe, to celebrate GI Joe by celebrating the bad guys. It's the bad guys' turn for that month, and to just work together and to just have fun as a community.
That's how you discovered Skull Reviews? that how you guys became
Yes,
friends, Peter?
Skull Reviews has been in it, and it's been fantastic. Grateful for his participation, and that's something that we're going to be working on here. I'm running a little behind on the organization for this year, but we're going to start getting a roster together for who wants to be a presenter this year, and hopefully we'll make it bigger than ever.
Great. Well, once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. And
Thank you.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really liked the opening segment, the what's your line segment. That's great.
That's my line, man, from 1955. We're still we're playing it.
Yeah,
you want to give your sign off for the show before we take off?
Yeah. First of all, I'm helping the algorithms by having a cat in the in the video. Yeah, this automatically means more views. Now go away.
I'm gonna get my cat in here for algorithm.
Yeah. See, that's the key to YouTube fame, is just to make sure you have a cat.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll sign off. I will sign off with my catchphrase, which I totally stole from 1960s GI Joe. I will see everybody soon. Until then, remember, only GI Joe is GI Joe.
Thank you, sir. Everybody, see you next week.